Musician Arthur Rubinstein said, "I have found if you love life, life will love you back." I love this program, and to help you love it back, I promise we are not going to talk about ivory tower ideas that have no relevance to your world. In fact, we're going to follow Carrie Fisher's advice. Now, you remember Carrie Fisher from Star Wars? Princess Leia, Cinnabon ears? Yeah, that Carrie Fisher. Carrie Fisher said, "Instant gratification takes too long." And I agree that in this world of info-obesity, if I don't keep it brief, you're going to give me grief. So here's a 2-minute backstory of how I came up with the importance of being intriguing. Then we have 2 examples of how you can make what you care about more intriguing. And then we actually give you an opportunity to connect with someone else in the room, immediately apply what you just heard so you can make a priority project more intriguing and connect with someone who has the power to approve it or fund it or greenlight it. All right, first the backstory. I helped start and run the Maui Writers Conference for 17 years. And now we did something unprecedented. Just like Cannes is to the film industry, Maui Writers Conference was to the publishing industry. We gave authors an unprecedented opportunity to jump the chain of command and meet face-to-face with top decision makers, top agents, top publishers. I will always remember, though, after that first round of meetings, a woman walked out of her session with tears in her eyes. And I said, "What happened?" And she said, "I just saw my dream go down the drain." I said, "What happened?" She said, "I've been working on a trilogy for 3 years." She said, "His first question was, 'What's your book about?' And it's so complicated." And I started explaining it, and I could tell that the more I talked, the more he confused became. And so I just kept talking, and before I know it, my 10 minutes was up, and he had never said a word. My dream just went down the drain. And I had a chance to talk to Bob Loomis, who was a senior VP of Random House later that night. And I asked him what was happening. He said, "Sam, we've seen thousands of proposals. We make up our mind in the first 60 seconds whether or not we're interested in that project." And the next day, I would stand in back of those meetings, and I could predict who was going to get a deal in the first 60 seconds without hearing a word, based on one thing: the eyebrows. Because see, if the eyebrows are crunched right now, go ahead, knit, furrow your eyebrows. Do you feel confused? Confused people don't say yes. If the eyebrows were unmoved, it meant they were unmoved, or they'd had Botox. Now, if the eyebrows were up, that was good news. Right now, lift your eyebrows, if you would. Do you feel intrigued, like you want to know more? That means we just got what we care about in your mental door. Now, Joanne's story doesn't end, because the next day I saw her in the halls and I said, "Joanne, did you go to the reception last night? I mean, there were agents and editors there. You could connect with them there." And she wouldn't look at me. And I said, "What's up?" And she said, "I didn't go." I said, "You didn't go to the reception?" And inside I'm thinking, you've been working on a project for 3 years. You invested thousands of dollars. You flew across a continent and an ocean. You had a chance to meet with decision makers who had the power to give you a deal on the spot, and you didn't go? And she said, "I didn't know what to say." She said, "I was so intimidated, I hid out in my hotel room." I was so troubled by this. You know, in the days following, I thought, author E.M. Forster was asked the secret to life. And he said 2 words: only connect. And yet we don't. And it's not that we don't want to. It's that we're not taught to. Think about in school, we're taught reading and writing and arithmetic. We're not taught how to be intriguing. We're not taught how to get people's eyebrows up. We're not taught how to communicate what we care about so other people care about it too. We're not taught how to connect. And see, I'm an entrepreneur at heart. And I thought somebody's got to do something about this. And I thought I'm as much as somebody as anybody. I'm going to do something. So I've spent the last few years developing the 8-step Intrigue process. And it's how to create interest and connect with anyone, anytime, anywhere. Now, enough of the backstory. Here's the quick examples. The first example is the first I in Intrigue, and it stands for intro. In particular, a 60-second intro that gets eyebrows up. Now, you may know that I'm the pitch coach for Springboard Enterprises. We've helped women entrepreneurs get $6.2 billion in funding. This is Robin Chase of Zipcar, Gail Goodman of Constant Contact. And one of my clients, Kathleen Callender, came to me. She said, Sam, I've got good news and I've got bad news. I said, what's the good news? She said, I've been asked to speak to a room full of investors at the Paley Center in New York City. I said, that is good news. I said, what's the bad news? She said, I'm going at 2:30 in the afternoon, and I only have 10 minutes. She said, Sam, you can't say anything in 10 minutes. She said, how can I explain my startup, my clinical trials, our team credentials, our exit strategy? You can't say anything in 10 minutes. And I said, Kathleen, you don't have 10 minutes. You're going at 2:30 in the afternoon. Those investors will have heard 16 presentations. Their eyes are going to be glazed over unless you get those eyebrows up in the first 60 seconds. She said, how can I do that? Here's how you can do that. Here's the 60-second opening we came up with that not only helped her land millions in funding, it helped her be selected as one of Business Week's most promising social entrepreneurs of 2010. Did you know there are 1.8 billion vaccinations given every year? Did you know up to half of those are done with reused needles? Did you know we are spreading and perpetuating the very diseases we are trying to prevent? Imagine if there were a painless, one-use needle for a fraction of the current cost. You don't have to imagine it. We've created it, and she's off and running. Are your eyebrows up? Do you want to know more? Okay, 3 quick steps. What is an idea you want supported, a project you want green-lighted, a cause or a company you want funded? Who's the decision maker? Don't try and explain what your business is about. Ask 3 did-you-know questions that get them interested in what your business is about. What are 3 did-you-knows that go to the scope of the problem, that go to the urgency of the issue, that go to a shift in the trend? Now, the next word is imagine. The word imagine helps us see what you're saying. It pulls us out of our preoccupation because we're picturing your point. Now link the word imagine to 3 attributes of your problem to that solution, of your project that meets that need, your program that addresses that issue. Think about Kathleen. What did her decision makers care about? Those painful inoculations, so we turned it into painless. What did they care about? Those reused needles, so we turned it into one use. And all decision makers care about money, so it was a fraction of the current cost. Do you see how we distilled into one succinct sentence? Oh, who wouldn't want that? Now bridge to the 3rd step. You don't have to imagine it. We've created it. Now come in with your precedents, come in with your evidence to prove that this is not speculative or pie in the sky. This is a done deal, and you are the one to deliver it. All right, sample 2. Sample 2 is the second I in Intrigue, and it's interactive. And this is based on something Bette Midler said in the movie Beaches. How many of you saw the movie? I know we did. Yay! Bette Midler has this great line in that movie. She said, enough about me. What do you think about me? You know, on the internet, everyone has a voice. We can contribute anytime we want. Everyone has a say. Our communication has not kept up with the internet because most communication is one way. Let's take the elevator speech. Most elevator speeches are me, me, me. And I think we can turn an elevator speech into an elevator connection, and here's how. I was speaking at YPO, and there was a gentleman who came up to me in advance, and he said, Sam, I'm going to admit something to you I've never told anyone else. He said, I'm the CEO of a tech firm out of Silicon Valley, but I'm an introvert. He said, I hate chit-chat and small talk. He said, I avoid those receptions at any cost. And he said, plus, I can never explain what I do in a way that people get it. It's always so awkward. And I said, can we play with this? And he said, sure. I said, okay, tell me what you do that I can see, that I can smell, that I can taste, that I can touch. And he said, why is that important? I said, because most of us try and explain electricity. We're not going to explain electricity. We're going to ask a question that finds out how someone has experienced, used, or benefited from electricity in the real world. And so I said, so what do you do that I can see, smell? And he starts talking about computers and credit cards and financial software. And finally the light went off in my eye and I said, do you make the software that makes it safe for us to buy things online? He said, yes. I said, don't say that. He said, don't say that. I said, yes, because if someone says, what do you do? And you say, I make the software that makes it safe for you to buy things online, what do they say? Oh. It's the end of the conversation. We don't want to end the conversation. We want to kickstart the conversation. So I said, ask a three-part question. He said, what's this about, a three-part question? Why not a one-part question? I said, have you ever bought anything online? And they say, no, I hate that stuff. We just ran into a conversation cul-de-sac. I said, have you, a friend or a family member, ever bought anything online? I said, now you want to make it more strategic? He said, sure. I said, what are the three most popular online retailers? He said, Amazon, Travelocity, eBay. I said, all right, say, have you, a friend or family member, ever bought anything online, like on eBay, Travelocity, or Amazon? And they may say, I hate that stuff, but my wife's on Amazon all the time. She loves the free shipping. Now, link what you do to what they just said. Oh, I make the software that makes it safe for your wife to buy things on Amazon. Guess what happens to the eyebrows? Oh. They relate to what we do. They're more likely to remember what we do. They may even refer someone to us to what we do. We have just given them a hook on which to hang commonality. We have just given them a hook on which to hang a mutually rewarding conversation and connection. Now, enough about me. It's time to make this interactive. So here's what I'm going to ask. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to get together with your GC partner. Now, you know who your GC partner is. Geographically convenient. Now here's the exercise. And now if you're watching this on the video, maybe there's someone in your office you can do this with, or maybe you can just brainstorm, strategize it in the 3 minutes we're going to take for this exercise. So here's the exercise. Number one, what is a project you care about? An idea you want supported. Project you want green lighted. A cause or a company that you want funded. When are you going to have a chance to meet with someone who has the power to approve that? How could you ask 3 questions and turn it into a 60-second intro that gets hello instead of trying to explain it to them? How could you ask 3 did you know questions? Or, when is the time you're going to be meeting new people? Now here at this TEDx event, it's for the rest of the afternoon. Or if you're watching this video, maybe it's when you're going to a business lunch or the Bark Park. It works either way. When they say, what do you do? Don't tell them. Ask a 3-part, do you know anyone, could be yourself, could be a friend, could be a family member who has done this. And now wait until they say, oh yeah, Instead of saying, I'm a chiropractor, do you know anyone who has back pain, who can't sleep at night, who can't pick up, can't play their favorite sport? Oh yeah, my brother's got such good, well, I help people like your brother. Do you see how it works? All right, so here's what we're gonna do, 3-minute exercise. In a moment, I'm gonna ask you to turn to your GC partner. Once I see that everyone has a partner, decide who goes first. If you go first, you have 1.5 minutes. Say, I'm going to talk about that project that I want green lighted and come up with some 3 did you know questions that will get those eyebrows up in the first 60 seconds. Or you can say, I want to talk about how I can meet new people. And when they say, what do you do? How I can actually ask a question that starts a conversation instead of leads to a dead end. I'll let you know when 1.5 minutes is up, and then it's your partner's turn, and then we come back and I wrap up with my big idea. Sound like a plan? Okay, everybody, let's go. Let's get together with your GC partner. Come on, turn it out. So what's my big idea? It's based on something that Andy Rooney said. Remember Andy Rooney, the old curmudgeon at the end of 60 Minutes? Andy Rooney said, remember, you're more interested in what you have to say than anyone else is. I say it doesn't have to be that way. I say if we want to succeed, we must intrigue. If we want to succeed, we must intrigue. What is something you care about? What is an idea you want approved, a project you want green-lighted, a cause or company you want funded? Who has the power to say yes? How are you going to ask 3 did you know questions to get their eyebrows up so they say, tell me more, which means you just got what you care about in their mental door? Or when are you going to be meeting some new people? And when they say, what do you do? Don't tell them. Ask, do you know anyone could be, and just give them a hook on which to hang a conversation. And it will give you both a hook on which to hang a mutually rewarding connection. If we want to succeed, we must intrigue.